All right, you guys, I am so excited to be sitting down here with John Ryan today. I reached out to him, I don't even know, a couple weeks ago and was like, I have a really strange question for you, but I know you're the only one, well, not the only one, but you're one of the only people who really understands where I'm coming from. And I wanted to see if he would do a video with me so we could talk about it. So basically what we're going to talk about today is the fact, this is kind of for people who have been with previous businesses and who have started on this new business venture and are kind of maybe, having a little bit of a struggle with it, maybe like a little crisis mode sometimes where you're like, what did I just do? How do I move forward? All of that kind of fun stuff. So, John, I know you were with a previous company, network marketing company before. Do you want to give a little bit of background on that?
Well, yeah, and thank you for having me on here, Michaela, because this is a toughie, and people that end up in the industry and want to be professionals will go through this, in my opinion, unless they were lucky enough to start with Seacret Direct. Seacret, in my opinion, is probably the most well put together company that I've ever seen. So a lot of times people will start out in a business and they basically think they're with that type of business. They put their heart in, they put their soul in, like I did. And my last company, I was there for literally over 12 years. And basically there were some mistakes made by the corporation in the direction they were taking, not only the product line, but also the compensation plan. And they were making strategic decisions that impacted the organization, the field organization, in a very negative way. So looking at that, I basically am a guy that's all about culture and integrity and do what you say you're going to do. And they weren't doing that. And so I got to that point, Michaela, that I basically sat down with my wife and said, I'm going to sell our business. And she freaked out.
Yeah, hello.
She freaked out and said, what are you doing? And I basically said, it's the right thing to do. And so, having this conversation today, I know a lot of people go through this, and I don't think anybody sits down and really has an authentic, open discussion about what's that like. And I think hopefully today that's the discussion you and I can have. What's it like to leave one company and go to another? I mean, right. Where are your loyalties lay? How does your organization fit into that process? Where's the relationships going to go? Is it going to destroy relationships? All those are real key and valid topics of discussion that hopefully we get to today.
Right. Yeah. Because I remember when I, kind of left my business, I kind of woke up the next morning. I was like, ground. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm solid. I know this is going to happen. And I woke up and like bawled my eyes out for a whole day because it was that like hit you like a ton of bricks. Like, oh, what did the bleep did I just do? Like you said, it was this whole, okay, what does my world look like now? Because this was my world for so many years. These were my people conversed with every single day. Are people following me thinking I'm a fraud because I said for so many years I believed in this product, I believed in this company, I stood behind it 100%, and now all of a sudden I'm leaving? Like, what are they questioning my integrity? Do they think I'm having a midlife crisis? What do they think? And I think that is so important to talk about because it happens, and you're right, no one talks about it. And I've been finding a lot of people through the woodworks who are finally coming out to me telling me like, I know where I thought I was alone.
Yeah. Well, it's like this, when somebody's at a job, let's say you have a corporate job and you're working for IBM, and Microsoft comes along and says, okay, hey, this person's really talented and we want them on our team. So they start courting you and they offer you a bigger salary, a bigger package, longer vacations, more money. What are you going to do? It's about your family, right?
Right. That's number one priority. You're going to take it.
You're going to take the job. Right. Guess what? Nobody says, oh, what the heck are you doing? Except for the people where you were at. And a lot of times the reason they're going is, what are you doing? Is because they're ticked off because they're not getting that package.
Right. Or they're freaked out because they're losing you as one of their key players. And they're like, oh crap, what do we do? They're gone. And what does that mean for us?
Yeah. It's like a divorce or breaking up a relationship. And the type of business that we deal in here in network marketing, and a lot of people skirt that term network marketing, absolutely love it. So when you're in a business relationship in network marketing, it's more of a connected relationship than if you're in a corporate job.
Right. Like they say the saying business is business, but in network marketing, it's not. It's personal because everyone's so invested emotionally in each other that it isn't.
Exactly. Business. We all win together or we all lose together. And depending on the compensation plan determines even bigger wins and bigger loses. So you've got to really focus in on and say this transition, this is a business transition with relationships. When you leave Microsoft to go to IBM or IBM to Microsoft, it's a business transition and not so much relationships, except for the people you're working with that a lot of times are patting you on the back. With this, you're doing a transition for your family, and the relationships are so strong because that's how you build a business in network marketing.
Right.
You create leaders, and as you create a leader, as you're helping this person develop into leadership skill sets, a strong relationship starts to be built. And so you have you're invested. So it's more, in my opinion, in network marketing than it is in traditional business.
Right. Now, they're your family. If you're doing it right the way you should be, it's totally family. You know everything about them. You probably know their dog's name, their kids' names, their cats. Like, you know their lives.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, you know what they need.
Right.
It comes back down to there's the strong relationship. I'll guarantee you in corporate America, people don't know what you need. And your boss is going to help you do well, but not better than them.
Right, because they don't want you taking their job.
Yeah, and here, I want you to pass me up. I want you to excel. Right. So the transition, the transition is like we said, it's like divorce. It's like a breakup. That's more of an emotional process than it is really a business process. That's the way I look at it. And there are several levels of grief when somebody goes through, they lose a loved one, they have a divorce, they have the breakup. There's where I think as professionals, we really need to understand and help people process through. So when you made the decision to come join our company, come join our team, I was very excited about that, but I understood that there was going to be some stuff,
right. I brought baggage.
Yeah, you're going to bring it with you, or you can leave it at the doorstep. Some of it you need to bring, your skill set you bring, but some of the emotional stuff that can hold you back, you kind of leave it at the door when you come in.
Right. Which is easier said than done in some ways because, there are moments where I thought I checked my baggage at the door and then I'll be doing something and, something that had happened previously in another business, something happens and it triggers that. And I'm like, oh, are they being, it makes me think about it for a second. Then I have to really check myself and be like, no, different company, give them a chance. Don't, make sure that it's not, you're just bringing this baggage along that you're, throwing onto your new business.
Yeah, there's steps. And I'll tell you, one of the most important components to this is a new person transitions like yourself. The key is to help them make money, because we're all here for a purpose in our company and in the industry of network marketing. And the bottom line, whether you're a heartfelt person, whether you're a driven person, I don't care what the personality types. The bottom line is I'm here to make money for my family. This is about freedom. This is about setting up that American dream that we all talk about with inside the network marketing model. So how you then take those steps in your new company are critical. And in my opinion, you have to have your team, your support network, your upline people they have to know what's going on. They have to help you through that process. They have to sit down and say, okay, look, let's get to superstar. Let's get to executive. Let's get to bronze. Let's get to royale. Once that flow is, once you set up, once they see the support network, and once they see how we do care about your success, yeah, we're invested.
Right.
You know, that's key. Once they see that, new relationships start to develop, new process starts to happen, and then they'll say, oh man, I'm glad I did, instead of, oh, dadgummit, what did I do?
Right. Because if you feel like you're alone on an island, then it's like, why did I do this? Because, it's a relationship thing. It's this thing that you want, this, team. And it's just, sometimes though, it throws me off to see the team side of it, because in my previous business, I felt alone a lot. And so sometimes I have to be like, are they, I have to check myself, because I get all these old thought processes of like, oh, they're just doing this for themselves. They really don't care. They just want you to get there, no matter however you get there, just get there. It doesn't matter, because I've had that happen before. And this is just, it's different. And it's one of those moments where you have to go, okay, it's different. That's okay though. So you mentioned that you had you mentioned grief, right? So what were like how did you work through your grief?
But you mentioned something that I want to really touch on, that this is different. Yeah. And what that is, Michaela, is, this is my opinion, and it's because I've gone through several transitions. And what I've seen in this transition is that the owner of this company literally cares about how this works for me. I've never had that before in any other company. So it's a top-down management or support network system instead of a bottom-up. And what I mean by that is that when you have a culture-driven business from the corporation, you're going to get a different build than if you have a non-corporate or a non-cultured business that is driven by what you just said. Do this, do this, do this, do this for me, not for you. Right. So that's not culture. That is your traditional, recruit as fast as you can, slam them on the wall, see if they stick, and then if they don't, just shove them to the side and let's go get some more.
Right. Numbers game. That's the big thing. It was always numbers game. Just get more people.
Yeah. Well, we've got to do the numbers, but let's do them systematically to see how we can help the numbers.
Right. Exactly.
That's culture. Yeah. See, that's culture. The comp plan goes back to culture. That's what I get so excited about, is that I've never seen that before. The comp plan drives the culture of the business. And I don't see that a lot in any other companies, which helps you go through those steps of process, which helps you overcome that feeling that you get from jumping from one company to the next. Now, here's the cool thing. When you jump to this company, you don't have to jump again.
Right.
You're done.
You found a home.
You found a home.
Right. And I think that's huge, because like in my previous company, like you're talking about, they're just like, get those people. What can you do to help me? Like I can remember in my previous business, I never in the 3 years I did it was ever asked what I wanted. I never was asked, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? What does your year look like? It was never that. It was always, I'm doing this, so you need to do X, Y, and Z so we can get there, And I'm like, I finally took a step back and was like, what do I want? What are my values? What do I, yes, like there are things I want to accomplish, but what do I want? And, they kind of drill it into your head that that's selfish. Like if you, and I'm like, wait, no, that isn't selfish. That's the whole point of, like bettering your life.
Well, it's the whole, it's the whole concept of, and I can't remember which person said that, but I think it was Zig Ziglar, who says, you help enough people get what they want, you're going to get what you want. We all hear that. I mean, we've all repeated it, right?
Right.
But do we really think about that? Are we really doing something that's going to help another person win so that we don't have to worry about what we want?
Right.
That statement is so powerful that if we really adhere to it, we're then going to duplicate the culture of Isaac Ben Shabbat's family, because that's what they do.
Oh yeah. It's like when I went to dinner, I'll talk about it again, but I mean, in the previous company I was in, the top leaders like you and, you know, like Kai and all of them, that was celebrities, right? Like in my world, those are the celebs. Like you ask them for a picture and it's really awkward. And like, it's just strange, to be honest. And that's the high ranking people. And if you're a lower ranking person, then you're not on radar. And when we went to that dinner at Isaac's and he asked all of you guys to stand up, I'm thinking, okay, here it comes. We're going to clap for them. It's like, bow down. You're the royalty. Like, not that you haven't earned, you know, what you've done, but it was like, I was just like, oh, great. Here comes the, you know, parade of people, like celebrities. And then he said, can you serve dinner? And I'm like, wait, what? Like, that's culture, like you said. And that to me was just incredible, because never in the years that I was in my previous business, I mean, I was at a luncheon one time and there was only one table available and it was with those top leaders and there were like 3 seats available. And I walked over with my head ducked down, so shy, and was like, can I sit with you? And they just said, sure, and never talked to me or my friend the entire time, didn't ask our name, nothing. And I was kind of at that moment, my celebrity bubble had been popped because these people that I had loved and respected and admired couldn't even take a second to ask me my name, you know? And so I was thinking this is how this dinner was going to go, but no, it was incredible. Like, it's just it's the difference.
Yeah. You notice how the conversation's gone, Michaela? Here we are. We want to talk about what it takes to transition. And we want people to understand that it's not easy, but we end up talking about culture. So transition can be culture driven also.
Right.
And that's what I hope people see. So when you came in and you sat down with Isaac and Betty, you know, and my wife and myself were there in the room, we were very quiet. And basically Isaac said, tell me about yourself. Betty's listening. I mean, you were the one that was doing the talking. That's transition. That's saying, hey, who are you? What do you want? What can we do to basically help you achieve what you want? Because I'm telling you right now, I have no doubt in my mind, to the very core of my soul, that this is the right company for anybody that wants to join it. So the transitional piece can go slow and it can go fast, but it's up to that person. So as leaders, what we need to do is we need to make sure that we're watching, especially people that are transitioning. How are they doing? Are they up? Are they down? Or do they have people from the previous company calling them and saying, what in the heck are you doing? I had a woman that came from one of her previous company into this company. And so she was so excited about Seacret Direct that she called her sponsor from the previous company, who was one of those, you know, high up, you know, I think she's number 2 or number 3 income earner in the company, and said, I am so excited about what I found. I know that you're probably not interested in joining our business, but I know you'd love the product. That person basically told her, she goes, I cannot believe you joined that company. And here's what she said: that company is a scam. Seacret Direct's a scam. So when she called me and told me this, it was humorous, but it was also very, very sad, because if you look at Seacret Direct and compare it to anybody in the industry of network marketing, Seacret Direct is the only company that went out and proved their product worked before they ever went network marketing.
Right.
They did $1.2 billion worth of business before they ever went network marketing. That's not a scam.
Fake news. No, I'm just kidding. Right.
So, you know, there's the comical side of it. It just shows you the ignorance of some people and how they feel like they have to protect their little bubble. That's perfect. Their little bubble, you know. So transitioning, Michaela, is difficult.
Right.
But it can be a smooth if people will let us help them through that. And we have to tell them, Hey, it's going to be tough. You're going to feel like you did the wrong things at one point. It's like buyer's remorse. You know, you buy something, you get home and you look at it and go, why did I get this? I didn't need to spend this money. I was okay over here.
Right.
But then you get here and you go, wow, but what's it going to do for me? And you have no idea. So there's a lot, in my opinion, there's a lot that goes into, you know, a person making that transition. I have great amount of respect for people that make that decision. You know, to make that.
That's how I am too, because, you know, I call it the bubble. Like, and when your bubble is popped and now all of a sudden you see the previous company you're with in a different light, it's heartbreaking and it's hard because all of a sudden what your reality was has changed. And I'm like, I like to call those people the people that are in the bubble, like the lady who's like, oh, you know, that company's a scam. It's because she's in her little bubble and she's not willing to look outside of that because that could pop her bubble, right? Because sometimes ignorance is bliss. And so we're not going to look at that. You know, I have people in my previous company who won't, you know, who are some of my very best friends who won't even bother asking me about this company because they know, I mean, they don't want their bubble popped. And I'm, you know, and I, you know, I'm like, well, you'll learn in your own time. I can't teach you that lesson. You'll learn in your own time. But it's hard.
Here's the key. People don't want to start over.
Right. They're in their comfort zones. They're where they are. Yeah.
Think about it. You put in 3 years, right?
Right.
I put in 12 years.
Right.
What's it look like to start over again? What does it mean to build another team?
I don't know. It's been pretty freaking incredible for me. No, I'm just kidding. But really.
Here's what I can say from a very transparent, honest position is the team I have already surpasses the team I had when it comes to leadership skills and level of operation in our organization. And that's what I wasn't expecting, but that's what's happened. Yeah. We've attracted better, I shouldn't say better, because everybody in my previous company, if they see this, I want them to understand, I still want them on my team. But what this has done is it's elevated, number one, my leadership. It's elevated all the people that have come here with our organization. It's elevated their leadership. And I feel right now that if I wouldn't have done that, then I would have been out of integrity.
And I think that's what we connect on is, you know, that was my biggest thing is it got to a point where I just didn't feel like the person I was matched the company that I was with. And it was almost like I had to like, okay, are you going to like devalue what you stand for? Because, you know, and, so yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying because it's true. And my business has been elevated. Like, you know, I felt like in my previous business, you know, there was like, write down your avatar. Who would your dream team person be on your team? And I had this list of people and it just never happened. And I mean, there were girls that I have that I love that I'm like, I saw that potential, but it just hadn't happened for them. You know, like they didn't want it badly enough. With this company, I mean, my team is pretty small so far, but all of these ladies that I have on my team, I look at it and I'm like, you match it's like I picked you out of a catalog. Like I went shopping and I was like, what do you want in a team, you know? And I'm like, oh, it's like I found you. And it's been incredible because it's not easy. It's just a different type of hard compared to my previous business. But it's been so much more enjoyable because the company matches who I am. And so that's easy for me to like give people, you know, that dream because I'm like, I know it can happen because I am so, there's no give and take with this business for me, as in everything they stand for, I stand for too. There's nothing that I go, oh, well, I don't really, but I'll, you know, okay. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. You have such a unique way with words, Michaela, and you said that, you know, it's like you picked them out of a catalog. And,
do people do catalogs anymore?
Yeah. Well, what it did for me is it gave me this picture in my head. Where do I get that catalog?
Yeah.
Show me.
I'll send you a link. No.
Yeah. Is Mary in the catalog?
Right. I know that's really awkward, but that's how I
feel. So, you know, but you're right. We have the ability to help people do that transition and do it effectively and help them through the ups and downs.
Right.
Because we do work with our teams. It's not sign here, we're going to send you your package, and then, see you later.
Yeah.
Call me if you need me. You sure you need me? Have you called the corporation? It's always a handoff, and that's what I got in my previous company. The other thing that happens, Michaela, at the level where you're at, I mean, you're a leader, and when a leader makes a decision to transition, normally what happens in that company is that leader then is felt like they're responsible to create systems, create ways to do business, create an avenue for success. But when you come into our organization, you don't have to take that time. You really don't. What you're doing with your organization is it's twofold. You're looking at a way to connect and work on an internet platform plus traditional builds. So you have kind of this 2-track method of build, which is really important because it's needed. We talk about corporate America moving from traditional business to platform businesses. Come on, I mean that's what we all need to be doing anyway, in everything else we're doing. So what you're doing is helping people understand that transition, because that's where you live, that's where you're good. This is not my bailiwick, and I feel very, very honored to be here with you. I feel like I'm learning from you. I feel like that this component of doing a network marketing business now, for me, this is exciting because we can touch more people's lives. That's the other part of transition. We're now going, in my opinion, what we're going to do, Michaela, because of the skill set that you bring to the table, we're now going to attract people with your skill set, which means that our business is going to catapult further. Transitioning and understanding, hey, I've got a niche I can go to, and nobody's going to say, what the heck are you doing? How come you're not doing ABC? When you came aboard, did I say that? Did I say, no, don't do that? I said, let's go.
Yeah, you said, whatever you want to do, we'll do it. And that's incredible.
Show me how to do that. I want to learn. So that's the cool part about the transition.
Right.
Everybody brings a new skill set to the table. Let's see how it fits for the team and for them, and so they can grow.
Right. Well, and that's my big thing is I'm like, in my previous business, it was all social media based. And so I never had the opportunity. I had a few girls that I was like, they would have been great belly to belly, but I didn't know how to give them that skill set because I'd never been taught, and I didn't have anyone I could plug them into to say, hey, I know you want to do this, not old school. I hate to call it that, but that way. Yeah. The old school marketing. I'm like, I don't know how to do that, but I don't even have anyone I could plug you into. So then I'm trying to be someone that I'm really not but with this company, it's like, okay, well, I've got so many resources. Let me plug you in. You're someone who comes from a previous company. I've got John, you're someone that has this personality. I'm going to plug you in with so-and-so. And everyone's so willing to just take on those people, even though they're not your direct person. And that was my biggest struggle in my previous business is I had a lot of people that came to me that weren't, in my direct business, and I gave them help, and I was kind of chastised for it, as in like, no, you shouldn't help other people, and they were offended that their leaders are offended that I was helping, and it's like, no.
See, the other thing about transitioning that you just triggered another thought is the unknown.
Right.
When a person leaves company A and they go to company B, they have no idea. They have this thought process of what it might be, but they really don't know. And so that's part of the I guess the scary part of leaving one company and going to another company is they don't know what to expect. They don't know if they will be acknowledged. They don't know if they're going to get help. They don't know. See what I mean? All that unknown variable is part of the transition.
Right.
So hopefully, a conversation like what you and I are having today will help people understand that it's okay to have those feelings. It's okay to have questions. It's okay to doubt. And when you're having those, the most important thing to do is take this phone, pick it up, and call and saying, this is where I'm at today. This is where my head's at. Can you help me?
Right.
And that, I think, will then absolutely blow their minds because they're going to get help.
Right. Well, and like my biggest thing was when I went into this, I think it was from Chalene Johnson. She has a podcast I really love. And she was like, you give yourself 24 hours. Like you are allowed to be, and then you get up the next day and you do something. You make a decision and you just do it. And so that's always been kind of the rule I've lived by, is like, okay, the day I woke, because I got messages the day I had officially quit my previous business. Are you doing okay? And I'm just like, I was on this high of like, yeah, I'm doing amazing. This is like so freeing, like, skinny dipping, basically. It just felt so freeing. And then the next morning I woke up and it was that pit in your stomach. Like, what did you just do? You just gave up how much money in a paycheck that your family needs, and you don't even know skincare. Like, what are you doing? But then I gave myself that grieving process, and I'm very, very proud and honored of the things that I've been able to accomplish, just because, you guys have taken that time to believe in me and to work with me, and to not just say, here you go, sign up, here's your pack, see ya. We don't know social media, so we're not going to work with you because that's weird, But that's the biggest thing, is I want people to understand that you're not alone. If you're grieving, you're not alone. We've all been there. We've all had those moments, and you can overcome it.
Yeah. And the other side is, I think it's a choice on how long you go through that process.
Right.
I mean, think about that for a minute. I mean, you went really fast through the transition.
Oh no, there are still days. There are still days where I am like, what did you,
Really?
Yeah, there are days, not as in like, did you make the right decision, but more or less like, I have those panic attacks of like, just moments of like a second where you take a second, it kind of hits you and you're like, someone will say something to you and you have to kind of like readjust yourself, and like, because of friendships, or I'm still going through the transitions of what do some of my friendships look like? What do some of, like those kinds of things look like today?
But see, there's the difference. Is there's the transition with business is literally there's a vertical issue there, and then friendships is a vertical issue. So what we do is we confuse the two.
Right.
Okay. This is really, I think, the key point of the conversation right now. As we've gone through, I don't know how much time we've been on here, but I'll tell you what, right now, this is the crux of the conversation, is that people confuse those two. If you take the relationship and just set it aside,
right,
and just think, all right, let's evaluate business, and let's say, is this long term? Is this business absolutely much better than what I have? And it is. Then you go back, and now the whole emotional trauma and everything that goes on with relationships takes place. So maybe it's not the business, Michaela.
Right.
It's the relationships, and it's what people are saying, what they won't do, what the phone calls and say, what the hell are you doing? You just did what?
Right.
What is making you're crazy? All this stuff. That's the relationship side of the conversation, and it's the driver.
Oh, totally. Totally. Yeah. Because you've had all of these relationships, and now it's being reevaluated, and where you come from. Because I'm always like, I'm friends with everyone, that's just who I am. Business is business. Like, that's not who I am. But I do have those friends, who I thought were friends, who are like, well, you're not associated in this part of the community anymore. So, it's changed. And so it does. You have those moments where you're like, you have to start, you're almost rebuilding new relationships, like, into this new company.
I was retired for 3 years, and I came out of retirement, and one of the guys that I thought he was a real close buddy. And I had spent, literally, I'd get in my car and I would drive to his community. And I did that every 3 days out of the week for 2 years. to help him build his business. And so when I sold my business and retired and basically kind of sat back and said, I'm not really sure I want to play anymore,
Right.
I thought about this one gentleman, and I just have, I go back and I think about all the fun we've had and what a good guy he is, but then he won't even answer the phone.
Right.
Then you go, was there truly a
Right.
Or
was it just business?
Yeah. Or was it just a facade? I mean,
right.
The 2 years that I spent driving down there was, what was that all about? Was that, so now what I look at, I go, okay, now I get it. And I'm okay with it. I know where he sits with me as a person. And I'm glad I know now. That's the freedom. See, that's what frees you up when people show you who they really are. Jim Rohn says, time will either promote you or expose you.
Ooh, I love that.
Time will either promote you or expose you. I love that statement, man. And your business can live and die by that. Us as leaders, time will either promote us or expose us. And so I keep that very apparent in everything that I do every day, because I want to be promoted. I don't want to be exposed.
Right. And you want to live your truth. You want to say the person that you present yourself as, you want at the end of the day to be like, that really is who I am. And that's me, because if you're in the social media realm, like I jump on Facebook and I'm bombarded with people who have maybe little digs in their posts, about this it's almost pushback. As in, well, I could have quit, but I didn't. I could have, and I know the people that are really actually writing. I mean, I don't want to be like, oh, they're writing about me, but there are people I do know that I'm like, this is geared towards me. They are trying, and instead of empowering, that was one of my biggest things is I noticed from my previous company, there were a lot of women who I loved, inspired, and I thought they believed in empowering other women, and they, but then I realized, no, they believed in empowering other women if their dream matched your dream, But the minute I said, no, I'm doing something different, well, we no longer empower you. We don't support you because you're not doing the business we think you should be doing. And they expose themselves, like you said. But it's still, one of those where you have to go back and go, okay, I'm glad that they did, because again, why waste your time and energy on people who are, like John Gordon, he's my favorite, the energy bus. He's like, no energy vampires. Like, don't ever let people on your bus who are energy vampires. And that's exactly what they were. Looking back now, I'm like, oh, they're just takers. That's all they do, and you want those people who are not that way.
And the second part is that I think happens is that when you're transitioning into a better, more explosive, wider marketed company, people are going to watch. And so they may stand back and kind of push you to the, kind of push away from you. But what they're doing, Michaela, they're watching.
Right.
They're watching to see. So what's happening in our business right now is that for the last it'll be 2 years in August, people have been watching Karen and John. People have been watching to see what happens. So, it's really important that we dig in and we make things happen so we can prove that this was a good move.
Right.
Because the people that are watching, eventually they will join you because of what you have done here, has stepped up as a leader, have stepped into a space in the industry in Seacret Direct. That's a kind of an area that hasn't been, people have got into and done business, on the social media. Yeah, people do stuff on Facebook and they play, but they don't understand. They don't understand the power of the internet to do business effectively through using the social media to actually develop and build relationships, because that's what you have to do in this industry. That's why what you called old school is old school. It's belly to belly. It's when I can see somebody's eyes and I can get that sense whether they're telling me the truth or they're just blowing smoke up my pant leg. That's why I love one-on-one. Well, let's check this out. We're on the internet. I can see your eyes.
Right.
I can assess the conversation. I can then say, hey, look, I know for a fact this person is getting what I'm saying.
Right.
See, over the phone, you don't have that. You have to listen really careful. You have to listen to words, and you've got to make an assessment over the words. Are they getting it or not? With this, see, this is new technology. This is belly to belly via, the internet.
Right.
So I'm really excited about this, and I hope that, that the conversation today has helped some people or a lot of people understand that, transitioning through, from one company to the right company, I guess that's the way to put it, to the company that seems to be maybe almost there, but not, there's pieces missing. If you're feeling the pieces are missing, that everything just isn't in sync, you're not, it's like gears that go through in mechanics. If you're off with your gears, everything stops. Right. And so with Seacret Direct, I feel that the gears are meshed, and that we're doing the right thing, and that, from a culture base, from an ethic base. And so if we can help people make that transition into Seacret Direct, that's my why. Right. I'm serious. When I started here, Michaela, my why was way different. My why now is, what can I personally do as a human being to help Isaac Ben Shabbat realize his vision? That's my vision now. And it's way different than what I started with. And over a 2-year period, that's the transition for me. That's the transition of coming in and leaving a company and sitting back and going, man, do I want to do this again? And realizing, yeah, you're going to build from scratch. Yeah, you're going to have to go find leaders. Yeah, you're going to have to get on the road again. You've got to go out there. You've got to build a team. You got to show people that you're into you're into it, and you're going to be there for them. Right. And today I look at this and I say, man, I'm glad I did. Right. Man, I'm glad I did. Contribution is literally the lifeblood of your soul, as far as I'm concerned. If you're not contributing, and if you don't have a forum where you can contribute, and I don't care if you're a brand new agent or you're a quadruple ripped up, quad royal, diamond, I don't care. Everybody needs to contribute. That's what human nature does. And so this, again, you've brought into space here, into our space, a way to contribute. And I just love it. And so thank you so much for letting me participate in this, because this is exciting for me. Well, it's kind of scary.
It is. I know, right? I know. You guys, just really quick, I had to teach John. We were supposed to go live, and he just couldn't figure it out, bless his heart. So we had to do Zoom because he still doesn't know. So next time I see him, I'm going to teach him how to go live on Facebook, because he was like, I don't know. No, just to add really quick though, with what you were saying, with people watching you and Karen, it's people follow people. And I think if you can look at yourself at the end of the day in the mirror and know you are a person who stood up for your values, you represent yourself the way that you really are, and you're a person, people follow that. I feel like that's why I have the success I have, is because I'm a very open, honest, vulnerable person who shares exactly who I am, good and bad. And people follow that because it's real. And that's, super important. So I have one last question. If you could recommend one personal development to listen to help with this, or just one of your favorite personal developments. I know you're always posting quotes, so I know. Yeah. Okay. Actually, I got a text about this the other day, and I was like, what is this cover? Never judge a book by its cover, but what is this book?
There it is.
Leadership Secrets of the Rogue Warrior. Okay.
Now, this book was given to me by Rafael Perez, one of our brand new agents in Portland. And when somebody hands me a book and they say, I want this back, then it's my duty to read it as soon as I can. Right. This book has touched me to the core of my being. It has basically changed and elevated my game in the last 5 days. So people will read this, and you're just, it can be a little bit rough.
Okay.
It's very direct, which I am very direct. But what I'm getting out of it, Michaela, is I'm reading it for me. how do I take my game up to another level as a leader? You can't stay stagnant. You're either going up or you're going down.
Right.
And that's how leadership is. And so if somebody thinks they've arrived, then they're in trouble. And
Totally agree.
this book has literally shown me what I need to do to take my game to the next level. So I'm indebted to Raf. Literally, I just can't thank him enough for him handing me that book, because it was handed to me at the right time. So maybe it's not the right time for some people to read that.
No, I get that. There's sometimes I recommend books and people I'm like, it's life changing. And they're like, I couldn't get through it. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, well, personal development is personal. So, but I'll have to check that one out because it looks really good. I have another one for you.
Okay.
You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. It's pretty direct. There's language in it. But for people who are struggling, that is a book that I've had on repeat since we first talked, because it's a very big, it kind of inflates the ego, as in it talks about how we're badasses. We were created to accomplish something, live your life that way. And there's a lot of life lessons in there. So that's a really good one too, if people are struggling. So, well,
I will get it.
Okay, you tell me if you like it. It's really good. I can't listen to the audiobook with my kids in the car because it's pretty vulgar, but and my little boy's a parrot right now, so
there's some language in this book too. So
okay, all right,
just get over it.
Just get over. I know. Well, my little boy, he's 4 and he's a parrot right now, and he says everything that comes out of my mouth. And I've learned that I kind of have a potty mouth, so I've got to get better about that. So anyway.
Thank you, Michaela, so much for including me in the process. I'm so tickled that we can have these conversations, and hopefully somebody today who's making that transition, somebody will see this that's going, man, I don't know. Man, take the leap. Right. Take the leap and get over here and let us help you.
I agree. All right. Well, thank you.
You bet.